What's up, Harley? You ready for this week's viewer build video? Yeah? Cool. What's up, guys? Ryan here from Mud Gunner, and today it is our biggest viewer build video so far. This is episode 14, and the theme was any gun. And I am a day late, so I basically had some computer issues the other day. I had over 2 hours worth of audio to cut down, and it was just a lot of work. So I'm sorry for posting a day late, but what I ended up doing was adding a couple more builds at the end. We basically got everyone's builds except a couple that were just too blurry, not in focus at all. So I'm sorry that those didn't make it in, but I really need some clear pictures. So if you guys want to participate in next week's video, I'm going to tell you the theme right now. It is twin guns, which was a recommendation from one of you guys. So basically two of the same gun or brand, and basically twins. So we have the SCAR 17 here, which is a 308, and a SCAR 16, which is a 5.56. So those would be twin guns, or it could be like a 9mm gun and a 5.56, like a CZ Scorpion and a CZ Brent, stuff like that. So ideally same brand, but maybe just two different calibers of their gun, because I know a lot of you guys collect different calibers too. So next week's theme is twin guns, and if you want to make it in the video, send them in early, because I won't be able to do an hour-long viewer build video every week. I'd like to, but I know you guys probably need some shorter content. So yeah, get them in by Wednesday if you want to be in next week's video and get me some clear horizontal pictures. And yeah, other than that, enjoy this viewer build video. You might want a snack for this one because it's pretty long. Okay guys, we're going to kick off this week's viewer build video with Christoph's build. This is his FBI HRT build. HRT stands for Hostage Rescue Team, and this is also a regional team's rifle. So I'm going to go through his build list here. It's from upper and then lower. So starting off, we have a Colt upper, and for his suppressor, he's running a Yankee Hill Turbo T2, and it's on a Yankee Hill flash hider. The barrel is a Spikes 11.5-inch Cold Hammer Forged lightweight profile. And then he also put this as an FN barrel. I don't know exactly how that works because he put spikes at the front and then it says FN, but that was what he said. It has a superlative AGB gas block on there. And then the bolt carrier group is a BCM bolt carrier group. It's got a Radian Raptor LT charging handle in black. The handguard is a Geisley Mark IV Fed ODG Gen 1 rail. I don't know the differences between the rails. I recently built one of these as well. And I can't really see because of the shadow, but they basically have some M-lock on the bottom plus some pick rail section. So it's kind of hard to see from the picture here, but it is the factory Geisley Mark IV Fed rail in OD green. He's running a Troy vertical grip on there in tan. His light is an Enforce WML on a 45-degree offset mount. He has an EOTech EXPS 3-2 on there. And then his backup iron sights are the Troy battle sights. And then he's also running a London Bridge LBX sling in the moss gray and Magpul 45-degree offset cutie point. So that's his upper build list. It looks great. Again, the picture, it's a little bit dark because of the shadow, but I mean, you could tell what it is, guys. It looks really good on there. And then for his lower, it says mil-spec lower and buffer system. It's a CMMG lower parts kit. It's got a LaRue MBT 2S straight bow Gen 1 trigger. It's got a Hogue grip, and then a Magpul CTR stock in OD green. And yeah, that looks great. He didn't mention the brand on the lower. Besides that, it looks like a really nice build, and the EOTech looks great on there too. But yeah, again, the FBI HRT build's awesome. I just recently did a video about a month ago on my clone, and yeah, thank you for sharing, Christoph. We'll move on to the next one. This next build comes from L Oriole, and I'm gonna go through his build list here because it looks like he has a good amount of stuff on here. So he says it's an LMT Spec War 12.5-inch upper, and then he's running a Huxworks Flow 5.56K suppressor on their flash hider. And then he's got a Modlite OKW Gen 1 flashlight on an Arisaka mount. He's got a Unity Tactical USB-C tail cap / switch. He has Scalarworks iron sights on there, rail scale panels, vertical grip, and a QD socket. He's got an EOTech EXPS 3.0, and then a Primary Arms Pegasus 3X magnifier, and then it's on a LaRue riser. And then he's got a Trigger Tech combat trigger. Then he's got a Radian charging handle, a Radian lower, a Defco grip, smoke composite buffer tube. He's got a Magpul DT stock, JP rifle SCS. It's got an Icon Defense bolt carrier group, forward concept EPC, and then a Ferro concept slingster that's not shown. But that looks sick. I like the gray Radian Raptor ST charging handle. I'll show you guys a picture of just that. That looks like a great build. Thank you for sharing. I'm sorry if I butchered your name, but it says the letter L and then Oriole, so thank you again. This next one comes from Ryan, and this is his Aero Precision M5 complete rifle. So I'm going to go through his build list here. He's got a Surefire muzzle brake, a Ballistic Advantage 16-inch 1 in 10 twist barrel. It's a heavy barrel. It's got a Harris bipod, the 6 to 9-inch, Magpul offset M-Bus Pro iron sights, which are the 45-degree iron sights. It's got a Lunar Concepts hot pocket, which I don't know exactly what that is. Sorry about that. I assume it may be that wrap. And then he's got a Driven Armco short stop hand stop. It's got the Aero Precision black nitride bolt carrier group. It's got an Archon 4-16 on an Archon mount. And then it also has an Archon throw lever, bubble level, and scope caps. He's running a BCM charging handle, a Phase 5 enhanced bolt release, a LaRue Tactical MBT-2S trigger, a B5 grip, a Magpul MOE SLS stock with the Ranger wrap on there. Then he says Subrev Tech bag rider, which I don't know exactly what that is. Sorry about that. And then he says he mostly shoots Hornady Black 308 AMAX, the 168 grain. But that's a really nice build. Thank you for sharing, Ryan. And I like the two-tone on there. This next one comes from Dylan, and this is a sweet looking MPX. He says the base gun is a Gen 3 MPX-K, which the K should have a 4.5-inch barrel. And let me go through the rest of his build list. He says it's got a Yankee Hill R9 suppressor in a direct thread configuration. He's got a Steiner D-Ball D2 on there, a Surefire Scout Light Pro. He's got a Gen 1 MPX LVAW style rail. So I know that rail kind of looks odd. It's really cool. The LVAW stands for Low Visibility Assault Weapon. It's basically a military clone. You see it more on like the Rattlers, but the MPX did it too. And I'm actually really excited because I'm picking one of these up here soon. But yeah, LVAW style rail, but it's a factory MPX rail. He's got an Aimpoint Comp M5 on a ScalarWorks 193 mount. And then he's running a Timney trigger, a Radian Raptor charging handle. He's got a Reptilia CQG pistol grip, and then a SIG minimalist stock, the mini stock. But yeah, that looks sick, Dylan. Thank you for sharing that one, and I'm excited to do a similar build to that. This next one comes from Justin, and this is his Glock 19X build. I like the color scheme, and I actually run a similar setup to yours. So he's got a Glock 19X MOS, which is the newer 19X. They recently did that with the factory cutout for a red dot, raised suppressor sights, and a threaded barrel. So Glock 19X MOS, he's running a rugged Obsidian 9 suppressor, and right now it's in the short configuration. He's got a Radian Ramjet afterburner, which moved to a Glock 19. He's got an Overwatch precision trigger. He's running a Steiner MPS red dot on there, an SLR Magwell, and a Streamlight TLR1. Then he didn't mention the handheld flashlight, but it's an Enforce, and I don't know who makes the little clip ring on there, but it looks good. Thank you for sharing that one, Justin. I like the build a lot. This next one comes from Ray, and this is his 9mm SPR build, spaced around the CMMG radial delayed blowback, the RDB system. And just quickly looking at the magazines, I believe it's a standard lower that takes 9mm inserts on those mags. So I haven't got through his build list yet, but that's why it looks like a 5.56, even though he's saying it's a 9mm. So going from his build list, tip to butt, he's got a Silencerco Omega 9K suppressor on a tri-lug mount. He's got an O-Light pistol light as a placeholder for a Streamlight ProTac, which is incoming. Nice. It's a CMMG 5-inch radial delayed 9mm barrel and bolt carrier group. It's a KAC 5.5-inch M-Lock super slim handguard, and then its KAC is in KAK, not Knights Armament. It's a Tango Down stubby M-Lock vertical foregrip, primary arms SLX red dot on a Strike Industries mount. It's an Anderson upper receiver with a larger ejection port to accommodate 458 Cellcom and 9mm casings. Okay. It's got Magpul dust cover, a pre-ban EA lower. Had to buy pre-ban in my state at the time to stay compliant. Okay, that makes sense. He's got an ambidextrous safety selector. He forgot the brand, and I don't know just by looking at it. He's got a Hyperfire trigger, a BCM gunfighter pistol grip. It's a CMMG branded Magpul PMag with Mean Arms Endo Mag 9mm. So that's the conversion on the inside. It has an Armaspec captured recoil buffer system with an H1 equivalent weight. It's got a Fab Defense GL core buttstock and then UTG backup iron sights. That thing looks nice, and I mean the only thing it looks like you're missing is a sling, but you might have one for that. Yeah, I like the little stubby AR, and I bet that shoots really nice in 9mm. So thank you for sharing, Ray. This next one comes from Burr, and sticking with 9mm, it looks like. He has a B&T APC9 Pro with a Glock lower, so it takes Glock mags. So, well, it's a B&T lower that takes Glock mags, be more specific. All right, let me go through his list here. He's got a Dead Air Wolfman suppressor in its K configuration. He's running it on a tri-lug adapter. And then for the light, he's got a Cloud Defense Rain 3.0 micro light on there. He stole the hand stop off his CZ Scorpion, so that's the factory CZ Scorpion hand stop on there. It's got a Glock 33 round magazine, B&T flip-up sights, and he put in parentheses, they suck. I haven't shot mine yet that much on my GH 9, but I mean, they seem okay to me. They just seem like basic iron sights. It's got a HoloSun 509T red dot, and then it's on an American Defense riser with a quick detach mount. It's got a Magpul K2 Plus grip on there, Dan Haga APC9/ACR stock adapter, and then it's got an ACR collapsing folding stock. That looks awesome, Bird. Thank you for sharing that one. It looks like a 9mm ACR. All right, this next one comes from Hector, and it looks like we got another cool 9mm here. So it looks like a 9mm AR. I'm gonna just go through his list here because I don't know exactly what we got. It says KA Valley 3-lug adapter, KA as in KAW, I'm not familiar with them. It's a BRN9 upper, and then he put in parentheses Matt 9K. So does that mean it's Brownells? Brownells does like the BR like 180s and stuff. So I'm not too familiar with that. He didn't mention a brand, but it says BR9 upper. I think that's Brownells. It's got an Arisaka finger stop on there, BCM rail covers, AT3 ARO red dot, Magpul flip-up iron sights. It's got a New Frontier Armory G5 lower, and it looks like that takes MP5 mags, which is awesome. Next Level Armament mag release, the Battle Arms bolt release, aim surplus safety selector, Mimtac drastic trigger, I'm not familiar with that one either, Irregular Defense Special K grip, KCI Gen 2 MP5 mags, Strike Industries 1913 buffer adapter, and their folding brace and brace cheek riser. So that looks awesome. So you basically have an MP5 AR9, which that looks cool, especially with the side charging handle. I've never seen a build quite like that, but thank you for sharing that one, Hector. It looks great. All right, it looks like he sent us another one. I got to go a little fast since we have so many guns to go through, but this is his 300 Blackout build. It's a 12.5-inch BCM upper. He's running a thread protector on there for now, but he's waiting for his Resilient Simple Man to be approved. I've heard of Resilient suppressors, I just don't know much about them. It's got UTG Pro American-made 7075 flip-up iron sights that he's trying out, a chopped BCM angled vertical grip, a Unity riser with a Vortex Crossfire 2 red dot, a Breek Arms Warhammer charging handle, a Spikes Tactical Punisher lower with a distressed paint job, CMMG lower parts kit, a Comfort Ambi safety selector, Die-Free Co. King Fu grip, a Voltor RE1 buffer tube and carbine buffer, and then an SBA3 brace, not pictured as smoke Lancer mags dedicated to this 300 Blackout build. I mean, it looks really good. It's going to be nice once you suppress it, and then the only thing I noticed on your builds were slings, but I always assume you guys have slings, so yeah, thank you for sharing that one. I'm kind of jealous of the 12.5-inch 300 Blackout BCM. I want to do a 300 Blackout BCM build, so thank you for sharing those, Hector. This next one comes from Chris, and it looks like he sent us 2 rifles, and I'm going to just go through his build list here on them. He's got a Reardon Manufacturing DPB in black rainbow PVD pin and weld. He's got a Through Night Raytel white light, an Aero Precision enhanced handguard. He's got a Geisley 14.5-inch taper profile cold hammer forged barrel. It's got a V7 Weapon Systems titanium gas block. It's the .750. It's a CMMG gas tube, a Slate Black Industries M-Lock rail scales, Aero Precision M41 enhanced upper, a Microbest phosphate chrome line bolt carrier group, a Breek Warhammer micro charging handle, Strike Industries polymer dust cover. It's got a Vortex Venom 1-6 on a SIG Alpha MSR mount. It's got a 100 Concepts 30mm cap, a PSA Stealth Classic Complete lower with a Magpul K2 grip, Magpul enhanced polymer trigger guard, Magpul SL stock, and then a Flatline Fiberco Ranger Sling in green. That one's looking nice. I'm not familiar with that light brand. I haven't heard of it before, but I like the color scheme of your gun. And then we're going to go through his other one here. It looks similar, but he said it's basically just a different take on the same style rifle. So going through that build list, he also has a Rearden DPB in Black Rainbow PVD, and it's pin and welded on there. It's got the Through Night Raytail white light, and then a BCM M13 Raider M-Lock handguard. It's got Magpul rail covers, a V7 Weapon Systems titanium gas block. This is the 6.625 gas block. He's got a V7 Weapon Systems KMR titanium barrel nut. It's got a BCM Mark II MCMR BFH 14.5-inch lightweight barrel. That's a mouthful. It's got a Breek Warhammer micro charging handle, Strike Industries polymer dust cover. It's a BCM BCG, a Vector Optics Paragon 4X low mount on a Unity riser with a quick release. It's also got a PSA Stealth Complete lower with a Magpul K2 XL grip, a Magpul Myad trigger guard, and then he said to repair a mistake he made. He's got a Magpul DT carbine stock and a Flatline Fiberco Ranger Green sling. Well, I like both of your builds. They look really good. Yeah, thank you for sharing, Chris. Those came out great. This next one comes from Daniel, and he has a Daniel Defense. That's quite ironic, but great. It's a factory SPR 2-stamp build, so I always like that. I think one of the most iconic AR SPRs is the 2-stamp Mark 18, so that's just my take. But again, Daniel Defense Mark 18, it's factory SPR, and going from tip to butt, he has a Dead Air Sandman S suppressor with a 30 cal flash hider end cap with a Dead Air muzzle brake. Then he's running a Hollow Sun LS321G Lam, which is the laser. He's got a Surefire M600 dual fuel with a 100 Concepts light cover. And then he's running it from a Unity Taps dual switch. He's got a BCM vertical grip on there, an EOTech XPS3 on a Unity riser. He's got an HRF magwell, a Geisley S3G trigger, a Magpul K2 Plus grip, a Radian Raptor SD charging handle, a BCM SOTMOD stock, and then a Blue Force Gear Vickers sling. That came out great, Daniel. The Daniel Defense Mark 18 is one of my favorite ARs, and I love shooting them. So yeah, thank you for sharing that one. This next one comes from Daryl, and this is his very first build ever. So thank you for sharing this, Daryl. It's a 300 Blackout pistol build, and he said the total cost put him around 600 bucks. So I'm going to go through the specs on this. His muzzle device is a Griffin Armament 7.62 flash hider. He's got a 10.5-inch diamondback barrel. He's got a Presma floating M-Lock handguard. I haven't heard of that brand. It's got a Magpul hand stop on there. That's the AFG. He's running Tacticon Armament front and rear flip-up sights. And then he's also running the Tacticon Predator V2 reflex sight. He's running an Anderson upper and lower. He's got a Defco Kung Fu grip. He also says he's running an adjustable gas block on there from Aero Precision. It's got a carbine buffer tube, that's mil-spec, and then a Magpul BSL arm brace. And then hopefully you're looking to suppress it soon. I know Griffin Armament makes really good suppressors. I don't have any of theirs yet myself, but I'd like to get one. And other than that, I mean, the only thing you're missing is a sling. And if you don't know slings, one of the slings that I run on a lot of guns is Magpul MS4 slings because it's just a good affordable sling, but it's set up for quick detach, so you might have to do a different sling like the MS1. You could loop through the brace in the back and then you could get a sling mount for the front. So if you're looking for an affordable sling, I like Magpul, I like Blue Force Gear. There's also a lot of other great companies out there too. But thank you for sharing, Daryl, and thank you for watching the channel. This next build comes from Garrett, and I just gotta point out, he sent me one of the most organized lists of like gun parts. I'm gonna show you guys. I can't go through all of it because you'll see this is a lot of stuff, but I'm gonna go through his core rifle components and then the aftermarket accessories. But that is a very detailed list, Garrett. And not that you guys have to send them to me like this. To be honest, just like the core components, like what he did up top, that's fine, and I don't need it in a PDF. Like you could just type it out, but I just want to give him like credit for being that detailed through it. So I'm just going to go through your core components because that's a lot to go through, but thank you for sharing this one. And then he says, this is his second build, now serving as his work gun for executive protection and private security. And then he says it's not fully complete because he's waiting on a Surefire RC2. But all right, let me go through this build. It looks great just from the pictures I'm seeing. So going through the core components first, it says muzzle device is a KAC Industries A2 flash hider, and then it's a placeholder until he gets a Surefire. The barrel and gas tube is a K9 Sage Dynamics 12.5-inch barrel with a patrol length gas system. It has a BCM low profile gas block. It's a 750 gas block. He's got a BCM upper receiver. It's a Psionics 11.8-inch free flow M-LOK handguard, a BCM bolt carrier group, a Griffin Armament Snatch 1 charging handle. It has an Aero Precision M41 strip lower with Aero lower parts kit, and then a Badger Ordnance Condition 1 modular safety selector, a LaRue Tactical MBT-2S straight bow trigger. We're seeing a lot of these LaRue triggers today. It's got a Magpul Myad Gen 1 grip, a BCM Mark II recoil mitigation system, and then it says Mod 1 TO or T0. He's got an SB Tactical SBA5 brace, and then a Magpul Gen 3 windowed PMag. And then going to the aftermarket accessories, which he had in a separate tab, he has a HoloSun AEMS red dot on there, on a Unity fast riser. It's the 2.26 inch. And then he's got an Aimpoint G45 magnifier on there, also on a Unity mount. It's the Fast FTC Omni mount. It's got a Lunar Concepts Contour padded sling, a BCM QD sling swivel, a BCM M-LOK CAG, which is the grip on the front, a Streamlight TLR1 HL as a placeholder, he says, and then he's got a Steiner CQBL1 laser on there. That looks awesome. Thank you for sharing that one, Garrett. And again, thank you for that detailed build list. Sorry I couldn't go through like everything on the bottom. It's just, again, that's a lot, but you guys can screenshot that and read through it if you want. And then hopefully your RC2 gets approved soon. So thank you again for sharing. So for this next one, I don't have a name. It just says the Gun Vault. So this comes from the Gun Vault. Their build list is small, so I'm going to read what they sent me before that. It says, here's my latest PSA Mark 12-ish 18-inch 223 build. Future modifications to the rifle include swapping the rail out with a genuine Knights Armament 12.6-inch quad rail or a Midwest Industries 12-inch quad rail, and then changing the barrel out for an SPR profile barrel with the AEM collar and installing an Otter Creek OCM5 suppressor in place of the current Turbo T2, and then throwing in a PSA Saberclaw Schmid trigger group. I'm not familiar with that trigger group. But then here's his actual build list, and it looks like it's mainly just PSA. So again, it's a short build list. He's got a Yankee Hill Turbo T2 suppressor with the SRX adapter. It just says bipod for 40 bucks. It looks like a Firefield based off the picture. It's got an Athlon Helos BTR Gen 2. It's a 2-12x42. It's a Palmetto State Armory 18-inch rifle length 223 Wild upper. It's a 1-7 stainless steel with a 15-inch lightweight M-LOK handguard, and then it's also a PSA PA15 complete classic A2 lower, and then a Colt US government 20-round USJI magazine, and then a Volter Mod 3 charging handle. And he also sent a picture of some groups here, which looks to be pretty nice sub MOA. He didn't mention the distance, but we'll just assume maybe 100 yards, could be further, but that's a nice group. So thank you for sharing the Gun Vault, and yeah, I mean, that's a nice Palmetto build. This next one comes from Garrett again. He was the one with the detailed build list. I'm going to show you this build list too. Again, you guys can screenshot it if you want, but I'll read through it. And I'm going to just read his description here. First of all, I like your pictures. They look great. So, first rifle I assembled and lightweight / solid platform was my theme. I will likely need a new barrel by the end of the year due to groups that are opening up. Only notes for this build is I'm still waiting on HoloSun's new LAM to drop for this build, and bipod will likely be subbed out for a Harris or dropped altogether. Then he says the Athlon 2-12 will also likely be subbed out due to the first one broke and the one in photos is a replacement they gave me. However, I have trust issues, so a Nightforce 4-16 will likely take its spot in about a month or so. So I'm going to go through his core components list first and then the aftermarket accessories. So the muzzle device is a Surefire Warcomp closed tine flash hider, and then the barrel and gas tube, it's a BCM BFH 14.5-inch mid-length enhanced lightweight. It's a BCM gas block, it's the .625, a BCM upper, BCM MCMR 13-inch M-LOK handguard, BCM bolt carrier group, so again, just complete BCM upper it looks like. He's got an AR-15 breech ambi charging handle, an Aero Precision M4E1 strip lower with the Aero lower parts kit. It's a zeroed 60-degree safety selector, a LaRue Tactical MBT-2S trigger, a Magpul Mk18 Plus grip. It's got a BCM Mark II recoil mitigation system in there, a B5 Systems Bravo stock with a mil-spec receiver extension, and then a Magpul Gen 3 PMag. And then going through his accessories, it's the Athlon Helos BTR Gen 2, the 2 to 12 by 42. It's a first focal plane scope, but like I said, he's gonna most likely replace it with the Night Force. It's got a 100 concept scope cap. It's got a Holosun 507C red dot on there as well. A Badger Ordnance COM 30mm 1.7 inch mount. It says secondary optics mount is a C1 accessory ring cap, C1 12 o'clock top optical platform. He said the sling is a self-made basic Rhodesian brushstroke quick adjust. It's a BCM QD sling swivel, a BCM vertical grip mod 3. It's a Surefire Scout Light Pro dual fuel with a Z68 tail cap, a 100 Concepts light cap, a Magpul M-Lock bipod mount, and then a Magpul MOE bipod. And then he said self-applied Rust-Oleum camouflage / camo ace wrap and dark brown hair ties. But yeah, I mean, that camo job looks great on there, so thank you for sharing that one, Garrett. And yeah, both your builds came out good. All right, this next one comes from Fox, and you literally sent me what looks like a selected picture from your camera roll. I'm not mad at it, just try to be a little better. This is actually a cleaner screenshot than some of the actual pictures I get. So again, this comes from Fox, and it's a very short build list. It says BCM complete upper, a full power D-Bolt A3 laser, a Surefire dual fuel scout light. I mean, I'm like filling in some of the gaps. He just put Surefire dual fuel, but yeah, Surefire dual fuel scout light, LMT complete lower with LaRue trigger, Trijicon ACOG Ecos, which is the ACOG and the RMR on top, and then a KAC trigger guard. Okay, I'm gonna show you guys his build list here too. So this is the style I like, where it's just, you know, labeled like this, and obviously I can make out what he's saying, but just tip to butt, I mean, that's really the gist of what he has on there. It looks like he also has a Tango down grip. You did not mention your sling. He's got a tourniquet on there. He's got a glow stick on there, and that's kind of all I can make out. But yeah, thank you for sharing, Fox. I'm not trying to like roast you in a bad way, just the picture's kind of funny, but at least it's very clear. I could see it clear as day from here. And yeah, I mean, short build list, short but sweet. So thank you for sharing. Okay guys, this next one comes from Evan, and this is his modern Gordon carbine clone. That looks insane just by looking at it. And he has a very interesting story in here, so I'm going to read through it. So this gun started out as an M16A1 parts kit that I actually found, believe it or not, in the brush on my ranch. I regret not taking better pictures of it when I found it, but I'll attach a picture of the receivers, which were more or less the only pieces of the rifle I could keep. It's really just a fun rifle to shoot at night and not really anything I'd ever consider using in anything serious or serious capacity because of its age. And some of the parts choices aren't even that high quality for the same reason. Now look at this picture. That is insane to find that on your property. He didn't say where he lives or anything, and even if he said it, I wouldn't share that because, you know, private. But damn, that is crazy to find that on your property. I am jealous. And that came out really good if that's the actual like upper. I mean, I could see kind of where it's worn in now, so yeah, I mean, that's crazy. Let me go through his build list. Again, this comes from Evan, and it's just looking sick from the get-go. So parts list from front to back are an AEM5 style suppressor with an Otter Creek Labs collar and muzzle brake, a Colt 14.5 inch government barrel cut down to 12.5 inches by D. Wilson Manufacturing. It's got a Surefire M900A light, a Somo Gear PEC2, which is the knockoff one. I didn't even know they make PEC2s. That looks pretty sick. I need some fake PEC2s. He's got a Knights Armament M4 quad rail on there, an Aimpoint M68 on a very cheap 30mm bargain bin scope ring, a Colt carbine stock, and a Colt buffer tube assembly. The original receivers the rifle was built on, also to include the original charging handle, teardrop forward assist, rear side assembly, grip, and bolt catch. Everything not from the original rifle is just some cheap lower parts kit. I felt the patina was too cool to paint over, so I didn't paint anything on this rifle. And yeah, I don't blame you. That's a crazy story, again, to find that rifle on your property and turn it into this. But you gave it a second home, so, or a second life. But yeah, thank you for sharing, Evan. That's awesome, and that's a crazy story. All right, this next one comes from an anonymous sender. So this is my primary home defense gun. My truck gun is under construction at the moment, so this is filling in for that spot as well. I'm going to go through their build list. It's a BCM Recce 11 MCMR ELW pistol. So it looks like complete BCM pistol. It's got a dead air 3-prong flash hider, a Surefire Scout Light Pro with a Surefire DS00 tail cap, a Surefire Scout Light SR07 pressure pad, and then it's got a Magpul angled foregrip, so that's the M-LOK one, the M-LOK AFG. It's got an EOTech EXPS 3-0 on there on a Unity riser, and then he's got Magpul MS Pro front and rear sights. He's got a Radian Raptor charging handle, a Sequence Precision billet mag release, a Geissele SDE trigger, the BCM enhanced trigger guard, a Magpul K2 grip, and then an SB Tactical SBA3 brace, and then he's got a Flatline Fiber Company brace strap. And then he didn't mention the sling, but it looks like it's got a TRX arm sling, and then I also see, I think, a Magpul QD RSA for the sling mount on the rail. But yeah, that's an awesome build. I really dig the color scheme on that, so thank you for sharing. Alright, so this next one comes from Alan, and I don't get jealous very often, but I'm a little jealous of what he sent. So he also has a YouTube channel. It is called 2ANLA. I don't know exactly what it stands for, but I'll link it for you guys. And yeah, let me go through what he says here. So it's a V7 in Terran Tactical Sovereign AR-15 rifle, and then rifle weight is 4 pounds, 11.5 ounces. That's pretty freaking light for a rifle. I don't even know what that would feel like. That's so much lighter than my Honey Badger. And then also included in this is a Terran Tactical Pit Viper and a Terran Tactical Sand Viper. That's a lot of Terran in one picture, but let me go through his build list. This looks awesome. So it's a V7 upper receiver. It's got a titanium competition muzzle brake on there. It's got a magnesium hyper light 13.5 inch M-LOK handguard with a 7068 aluminum barrel nut, a 13.9 inch stainless lightweight contour fluted barrel with the .625 titanium gas block. It's a 1-in-7 twist barrel with poly rifling. He's got a cloud defensive rain with a pressure switch on there, a titanium bolt carrier group, a lightweight ambi charging handle, and then he's got a Trijicon AccuPoint 1:6x24 on a ScalarWorks Leap 08 mount with a Trijicon RMR on a ScalarWorks Sidekick mount. And then the lower is a V7 lower, slick and quiet Teflon coated 2055 lithium aluminum 11 position carbine buffer tube and spring. That was a mouthful. It's a 7068 lightweight castle nut in an ultralight quick detach end plate. It's got a titanium buffer retainer, a hybrid ambi-degree safety selector with grade 5 titanium core, and then a Hypertouch competition trigger. So yeah, that's an insane AR-15, and I don't know much about V7. I feel like a lot of people know Terran just because of the John Wick movies, but I mean, his company's been around for a long time. I do think he makes really cool guns. Yes, they are expensive. I have shot a couple of them, but I don't own any of them. But yeah, again, I think that's an awesome AR. I've never shot anything quite like that before, so I don't know what it would feel like, but I mean, sub 5 pounds, that's insane. And that's sub 5 pounds for the gun. It obviously weighs more with the optics and stuff on there. And then going through his pistols, they're actually very simple. He's got a Terran Tactical Sand Viper with a Trijicon SRO and a Surefire X300 Turbo Light, and then he says it's upgraded to the Icarus Precision Grip Module. And then the other one is a Terran Tactical Pit Viper with a Surefire X300 Turbo, and then that one's also upgraded to the Icarus Precision Grip Module. So absolutely insane guns, Alan. Thank you for sharing, and again, go check out his channel. This next one comes from Josh, and looks like he sent us a couple rifles here. I'm going to go through the top one first. So I'm going to go in the order on his build list here. He's got a BCM Mod 1 stock. He's got an FCD 9-position A5 receiver extension, an FCD ESFH, which I don't know exactly what that is. And I assume FCD stands for Forward Control Design. I could be wrong. I don't know all the acronyms, guys. I'm sorry. But yeah, FCD ESFH. And then an FCD Castle Nut. He's got a Geissele Super 42 buffer spring, and then a Voltor A5H2, which I assume is the buffer itself. He's got a Voltor MUR. Dang, dude, I'm sorry. I don't know all the acronyms. He's got a Sons of Liberty bolt carrier group, a Radian Raptor SD charging handle, a BCM Mod 3 grip, an FCD ASF Q50. Yeah, I don't even, you guys are just going to look at most of the rifle because I don't know what that is. He's got a Geissele SDE trigger, American Defense UIC lower. He's got a Criterion 13.9 inch barrel with a superlative arms gas block. The muzzle device is a Sons of Liberty 9-port Knox. It's got a Geisley 13-inch super modular Mark 8 handguard, an Emissary Development handstop. It's got a Surefire DS07, a Reptilia 18650 light body, an HRT ALWS light, and then he's got an American Defense Manufacturing Recon 1.93-inch mount with a Sig Sauer Tango 6 LPVO on there, and then a Valhalla Tactical mount with the Holosun 509T. I just realized where that 509 is, dang. And then he's got Knights Armament backup iron sights. Well, that looks like a really nice build. Again, sorry I don't know some of the parts and acronyms. I'm just reading off what you said, but again, it looks like a very nice build. And then the lower gun, I should be able to say a little bit better. So he's got a Sig Sauer MCX, it looks like. So it's a Sig Sauer adjustable stock, a Sig Sauer M4 adapter. It's got a Radian Raptor MCX charging handle, a complete Sig Sauer MCX TacOps upper, an FCD ASF Q50. That might be the safety selectors. I don't know exactly. I'm sorry again. Geisley SD3 gun trigger, an American Defense Manufacturing ADM4 lower, a Reptilia CQG grip, an Arisaka MCX zero retention clamp, a Dead Air Nomad with a Rearden Atlas mount, which is the suppressor under the rail. It's got Rail Scales XOSH, Rail Scales Carve with a K. It's got Cloud Defensive Owl light on there, a Unity fast mount with an Aimpoint T2, and then it's also got the Knights Armament battery cap, which I like, that adds an extra battery in there for storage. It's got FCD T2 turrets, and then a Tactical Force ARD, which, what is the ARD? I'm not sure. I know the MCX TacOps uppers normally come with their sights, so those are factory SIG sights. And then it looks like he's running Magpul mags. The top one, I don't know the base that allows it to stand up, but it's got a little base pad on there. And then the bottom mag is a 40 rounder with the Terran extension. But other than that, I mean, they both look very nice. And then for his MCX, he didn't say whether it was 5.56 or 300 Blackout, but assuming the barrel length, I mean, it could be 300 Blackout. So I don't know. But again, they both look great. So thank you for sharing, Josh. All right, this next one comes from Fearless Pizza. And they sent me 3 guns. I'm gonna go through the 3 of them. I don't wanna make it like unfair, but I mean, these will be relatively quick. So if I go through them faster, that's just it. But starting off, we have a really sweet Benelli M4 SBS. This is the M4 entry. So it's probably a 14-inch barrel, requires a $200 tax stamp. But yeah, it's a Benelli M4 entry. So it has their stock and their handguard on there. They are running an EOTech EXPS2 with a green reticle, a Surefire 640 dual fuel light, a Strike Industries barrel clamp for the Surefire light. It's got a Mesa Tactical 8-shell carrier, a Midwest Industries extended charging handle, and then an Edgar Sherman design sling. That thing looks sick. I really like it. And yeah, I actually just bought an SBS Benelli today, but it's not an M4, unfortunately. So yeah, thank you for sharing that one. Moving on to this next one, we have a sick SIG Rattler. So this is an MCX Rattler in 300 Blackout. They have a SIG Romeo 3 XL on there. They have a Surefire Turbo Mini. They got a Silencer Co. Omega 300 suppressor on an ASR muzzle brake. They have an A3 Tactical vertical foregrip, a Magpul mag coupler. It's got Troy Micro iron sights on there, and then also an Edgar Sherman design sling. That one's looking nice. And then the last one they have here is a Zastava ZPAP 85. So that's chambered in 5.56. It's got a CNC Warrior brace, an Aimpoint Comp M5S red dot on there, and then they have an Edgar Sherman design sling and then duct tape mag coupler. Well, that sounds appropriate for the AK. But yeah, thank you for sharing those builds. Again, I know I went through them kind of fast, but that's the only way to kind of be fair because it's 3 guns. But yeah, thank you again for sharing, Fearless Pizza. And out of all these 3, I'm pretty jealous about your Benelli M4, but they are all great builds. So thank you again for sharing. This next one comes from Josh, and this is his PSA build. So going through his list here, he has a Palmetto State Armory complete lower with an SB Tactical SBA3 brace and an EPT trigger. And then he's also got a PSA Saber upper with a quad rail. What? That is not a quad rail. It says quad rail, but obviously that's not a quad rail, that's an M-Lock rail. And then it says 10.3-inch FN Cold Hammer Forged barrel with a Saber 3-prong flash hider. So to me that looks like a BCM M-Lock handguard, but they did put quad rail. It's obviously not a quad rail. I think it's BCM handguard. Oh, you said it in the next line. Okay, so on the next line it says swap to BCM MCMR 10-inch handguard. So when I do these build lists, I just read like in the order that you send them. So sometimes I am able to correct myself, but sometimes it's easier to just explain on the second line. So yeah, I was right. It's a BCM handguard. I know you might be thinking like, Ryan, well, why didn't you just see it? Well, again, I just go in the order that I'm reading this in. So yeah, it's got Daniel Defense fixed iron sights. He's got an EOTech EXPS2 on there, a B5 pistol grip, a BCM grip that was chopped, a Streamlight Pro Tac 2, and then a Flatline Fiberco brace strap and sling. And yeah, that's a very nice setup. Thank you for sharing. And then it looks like we also got a second build, so we'll go through that one as well. So also from Josh, we have a Palmetto State Armory AKV with an ALG trigger. It's got a PSA triangle brace, a HoloSun AEMS core green dot, a BCM CAG grip, a Streamlight Pro Tac 1 light on there, an Arasaka inline mount, and then a KAC faux suppressor. So KAK, not Knights Armament. I feel like I always have to say that, but they can be mixed up. And that looks like a really nice AK. I actually want to get one of those one of these days. I've never shot a 9mm AK. But yeah, thank you for sharing your builds, Josh. Do they look tired, Harley? Do they need a discount code for this week for my website for watching this video? Cool. So if you made it this far, thank you for watching. And I do have a discount code that you guys can use on my website. It is atroxcode.com. And the discount code is viewerbuilds. That will get you 15% off anything on my website until next Friday. So if you're looking to pick up one of my shirts, some of my stickers, patches, whatnot, go check out my website. It's atroxcode.com. And again, the code is viewerbuilds, all one word, and that will get you 15% off anything on my website. So continue with the video. All right, we're getting through the list, guys. We still have quite a few more, but I'm excited to have this many. So this next one comes from Mississippi Billy. And yeah, I mean, it looks like a short list, but it's a very nice gun. It's got a CMMG Descent Mark IV in 9mm, and then it's a 10.5-inch barrel. So again, that looks like a standard AR-556 mag, but this is chambered in 9mm. He's running a B&T RBS direct thread suppressor on there, a P9LG light laser combo, a Magpul AFG2 angled grip on there, an EOTech EXPS 2-0 on a Unity mount, and then a Thordson Picatinny adapter, which is on the back, it looks like, for the brace, and the brace is an SB Tactical SB PDW brace. So very quick build list, but that is a very nice gun. And I dig the bronze color on there, and I bet that shoots extremely sweet with B&T suppressors. So thank you for sharing that one, and yeah, I want to shoot one of those sometimes. Those new Descents look awesome, and they do them in a variety of calibers. So yeah, we'll move on to the next one. This next one comes from Kevin, and this is his Mk18 SPR. So thank you for sharing. From tip to butt, he's got a Surefire close-tine flash hider, a 10.3-inch Ballistic Advantage Hansen barrel, Daniel Defense front iron sight, a Surefire M340 dual fuel turbo, a Daniel Defense Wrist 2 handguard. It's got a Tango Down stubby vertical grip. It's on a BCM Blem upper receiver with a Daniel Defense bolt carrier group. Then he's got a Radian Raptor charging handle. His optics are an EOTech EXPS 3.0 and an EOTech G33 magnifier on Unity mounts. They have an Aero Precision low profile lower, a T-Rex Arms lower part kit, a Trigger Tech duty trigger, a BCM H3 buffer kit, and then a B5 SOTMOD stock and grip. And then the sling is not pictured, but they're running a Vickers tactical sling. And that looks like a very nice Mk18. If you're looking to add a little bit of flair to it, I added Ergo rail ladders on my Daniel Defense rail because they do them in Coyote Brown, and I think it looks really sick and it'll match your color scheme. But they also do them in FDE. So if you're looking to do rail ladders, I like the Ergo ones and they look nice on there. But yeah, your build looks great. And then he also didn't mention, but it looks like he has a Daniel Defense sling mount on there. And yeah, I really like it. I love that color scheme on Mk18s. They look great. And then he also has a Magpul Gen 3 mag in there as well. So thank you for sharing that one, Kevin. This next one comes from Broken Brandon. Why are you broken, Brandon? That gun looks awesome. And this is probably the shortest build list I have here, but it looks amazing. So all work was done by Nighthawk. I just added an Acro P2 and a Surefire. All right, we're done. Moving on to the next. No, I'm just kidding. Yeah, that is an insane handgun. So I assume it's just a complete Nighthawk. I don't know what model because you didn't mention it, but it's got a really cool, it's like a black multicam, but it's not black multicam. It's more like a gray black multicam, so it looks different. And then, yeah, it's an Aimpoint Acro P2 on top, and then a Surefire X300 on there. But, yeah, I mean, I don't have anything else to go off of. I just assume it's a very nice pistol, and I bet it shoots sweet with that comp on there. And then he did send us another one, so I'm going to click on that one as well. And that also looks like a very nice 2011. So, what is that one? It's also a very short build list. It's an Atlas Erebus, and they just added the SRO and Surefire. All right, we're done with that one too. No, I'm just kidding. Atlas makes very nice 2011s. I know Nighthawk makes very nice 2011s. And yeah, I mean, it's just a factory gun, it looks like. And then it's got the Trijicon SRO and then the Surefire X300 Turbo. But yeah, both of those are nice. And what's crazy about these 2011s is if you guys ever look these up, like that or the Terran guns, these things are ridiculously expensive. And I would love to own a high-end 2011 like this, but if you guys watch my channel regularly, I generally build a lot of rifle builds because for some of the prices of these handguns, you could do insane rifle setups. So that's just kind of like what I focus on, but eventually I would like a nice 2011 like these or like the Terrans or something along those lines. But yeah, both of these are awesome, Brandon, so thank you for sharing. All right, these next guns come from Trayvon, and let me go through his build list here. So he's got a Palmetto State Armory Jakl, and then a matching CZ P09. We're going to go through the Jakl first. So it says Surefire Scout Mini on an Arasaka extended mount. It's got a Unity pressure switch on there. They have a BCM CAG grip, a Holosun 510C, and the Holosun HM3X magnifier. It's got Chris flip-up sights, a Norgon Ambi mag release, a Radiant Talon safety selector, and then a SIG minimalist stock. And then you didn't mention your lower. The lower does not look like a Palmetto lower. I can't read it very well from here. I might be able to zoom in when I'm editing the video, but it looks like it says HA15 is the model. So to me, that doesn't look like a Palmetto lower, but I could be wrong. I can't see it well enough from here. And then I believe the Jakls come set up already for a dead air suppressor with their mount, with their muzzle device on there. But yeah, that looks nice. You didn't mention your sling. I feel like I should know this by looking at it, but I don't. So comment down below with what the sling is, but again, the color looks really good on there, and I like that rifle setup. We're going to move over to the CZP09. So for that, it's got a primary machine threaded barrel, a Streamlight TLR1S light on there, a Holosun 507K red dot, and then a Springer Precision base pads and grip tape. And then he said, don't mind the scuffs on the grip tape. The P09 is currently what I carry for work and still trying to decide on what trigger I want to put in the Jakl. And one thing that you shouldn't ever worry about or have to apologize for is wear on your guns. Because you know what that means? That means you use it or shoot it. So I've had comments on these videos where, you know, people will say, oh, those guns look like they've never seen the range. Which, I mean, I'm not one to judge. I have guns I've never shot before. But I do appreciate guns that have wear on them because it's like, okay, you know they're actually using them. So yeah, don't feel bad about any scuffs on the guns. My main guns have scuffs on them, so it's just part of it. But I do have some that I try to keep as clean as possible, but they're not my everyday carry guns. So yeah, thank you for sharing those, Trayvon. And again, I like the color scheme. That looks awesome. This next one comes from Roman, and it looks like we got a pretty decked out AR here, so I'm going to go through his build list. He's got a Gamma 556 muzzle brake, a Streamlight Pro Tac light. It's got a Magpul hand stop. It's an Aero Precision Atlas upper, and then it says 14.5 inch. And it's got a Geisley SP mount and a Reptilia mount. So it looks like the Reptilia mount has a Holosun 407C on there in green. And then the Geisley SP mount has a Vortex Strike Eagle 1-6. And I believe that's the Optics Planet Edition because of the color scheme on there. So the OpMod Strike Eagle, if I'm right. And then it is an Aero Precision X15 stripped lower with a CMMG lower parts kit. It's got a Rise Rave 140 trigger, a B5 grip, an Aero Precision billet trigger guard, a BCM bolt carrier group, a Breek Warhammer Mod 2 charging handle, a BCM buffer tube kit, and then it says an Amazon SB brace when they were bike handles, so maybe just a knockoff brace, a homemade 3D printed mag flare, a T-Rex arm sling with 2 BCM sling swivels. And yeah, I mean, that looks great. It's funny if that's a knockoff brace. I can't tell directly from this picture, but Yeah, I mean, that's a really nice build, and now that I'm looking at it closer, I can see that it is an Optics Planet Vortex Strike Eagle. They do a lot of cool FDE optics. And other than that, yeah, thank you for sharing, Roman. I like it a lot. This next build comes from Caleb, and it looks like we got another Mk18 build here. I will never complain about that. So going through his build list, he has a Daniel Defense Mk18 upper with the wrist 2 quad rail on there. It's an Aero Precision lower. And then his optics are an EOTech EXPS 3.0 with an EOTech G33 magnifier. He's got Magpul MBus Pro iron sights on there, a Dead Air Key micro brake with a Dead Air Wolfman suppressor in the short configuration. And then he has a placeholder Chinese full power laser, and then he's saving up for a PEC-15 right now. It's got a Magpul rubberized grip with a B5 SOTMOD stock, and then a mil-spec fire control group. And other than that, I mean, that's just a really nice Mk18 build. I didn't know that the Dead Air Wolfmans were set up for 5.56 because that's a 9mm suppressor. So I know like some 9mm cans are rated for like subsonic 300 Blackout, but yeah, I did not know that on 5.56. So that's a nice build, Caleb. I like it. And just like I mentioned on the other Mk18 build, a good set of rail ladders for you would be the Ergo rail ladders. And in your case, I would probably do the FDE ones because it'll match the accessories you already have on there a little more. But Coyote would look good too if you went that route. So thank you again for sharing. And then you didn't mention a sling, but it looks like I see a sling mount on there, so maybe you have one. But yeah, thank you for sharing. So this next one is interesting. This comes from Vinnie, and Vinnie is from Brazil. So I'm gonna read what he sent me here, and then we'll go over his build. But this is what he said. Here in my country, with great difficulty and discouraging demands, we are able to buy weapons legally, and when it comes to AR-15s, we have two national options of dubious quality. So many of us who can afford to do so choose to import them legally from the USA. As taxes for import, they are very high. I ended up importing this 10.5-inch PA-15 and modified it by making some upgrades. The nitrided barrel and the phosphated and chrome-lined bolt carrier are still standard. The rest, almost everything was modified. The accuracy is great for a PSA gun. And he also sent me a very detailed list here. And I'm going to just tell you, this whole build cost him about $10,000 US because the pricing is just insane on this stuff. So Vinnie, I hope you don't mind me sharing this list, but this is a very detailed list and it's just crazy. As far as I know, this is the first out-of-country build we have for the viewer build, so thank you for sharing. So first up, we have the most expensive Palmetto I've ever seen. It's a PA-15 10.5-inch pistol, and then it was converted to an SPR, and then this is not legal in Brazil, but he said the SPR and accessories are legal when registration was made. And based off his list here, that's just over $2,700 US, which is insane. So yeah, again, Palmetto PA-15 pistol, that's now an SPR. It's a Silencerco ASR muzzle brake and an ASR Bravo mount. He's got a Fire Eagle titanium suppressor, which is Brazilian made. That's cool that it takes a Silencerco mount, and that's a $1,200 suppressor. It's got a Superlative Arms clamp adjustable gas block, a Midwest Industries 9.5-inch combat rail, a BCM QD sling adapter, a Surefire Scout Mini Pro with the pressure pad, a Magpul RVG vertical grip, an EOTech EXPS 3.0 with an EOTech G33 magnifier. He's got Magpul MBus flip-up sights on there, a Radian Raptor SL charging handle, a Radian 45-degree safety selector, a Geisley SSAE trigger, a Magpul bad lever, and then a Magpul CTR stock. I don't think he mentioned the Magpul grip, but it looks like he has a Magpul K2 grip on there, I believe, and then a blue Alpha gear sling. But that is a very nice build, especially not being in America. Like, the fact that you can get that stuff there is awesome. I'm sorry that it cost you like $10,000 to do this, but it came out great and hopefully it was worth it to you. So thank you for sharing, Vinny. I'm sure a lot of other people here from the US will be like, wow, that's insane. So yeah, I mean, if you guys want, screenshot that build list and just look at how much each one of those parts cost them, because it's all extremely price gouged. So yeah, that's crazy. But yeah, thanks again for sharing, and we'll move on to the next one. Yeah, we're getting another Mk18. This next one comes from Cole, and we have another Mk18. So going through his build list here, we have an Otter Creek Polonium K suppressor. We have a DS Arms 10.3-inch upper. It's got a Daniel Defense Wrist 2 rail in FDE. He's got Magpul MBus Pro backup sights. It's got the Ergo rail ladders that I've been telling you guys about, which hopefully this shows you a good idea of what they look like. He's got an Arisaka 300 series Malkov light with the Surefire UE switch. He's got a Tango Down stubby grip, an EOTech XPS 3-0, and then it's a Daniel Defense lower from a previous build, a LaRue MBT trigger. It's got the Ready Mag extended ambi bolt release, a PRI gas buster charging handle, a Magpul K2 grip, a Springco blue buffer spring with an H2 weight, and then a B5 hot mod stock in FDE. And then you didn't mention your sling, but he has a Magpul sling on there as well. But I love the two-tone on there. And then again, I think the rail adders really make it pop, but I also have a Mark 18 without rail adders just because I was like, you know what, I got to do one without them, but I do really like the rail adders. So thank you for sharing that, Cole. I know this puts us at a lot of Mark 18s, but again, I'm not complaining. This next one comes from Vic, and it looks like he has a badass AR setup here, so I'm going to go through his build list. He's got a Dead Air Sandman S with the 5.56 flash hider end cap on there, and then it's on a Dead Air Chemo flash hider. So it's a 30 cal suppressor, but it has a 5.56 end cap, which is supposed to make it quieter. I just haven't personally ran one myself yet. He's got a Faxon 11.5 inch barrel on there, a Superlative Arms adjustable gas block, a BCM 10 inch MCMR rail, a 100 Concepts light cap, a Mod Light PLH V2 on an Arisaka mount, a Surefire tail cap UE, and then it's on a Mod Light mod button for the pressure pad. It's got Rail Scales G10 Matrix M-Lock covers on there, a BCM CAG grip. It's got Magpul M-Bus Pro iron sights. It's got a Toolcraft nickel boron bolt carrier group in there. He's got a EOTech EXPS 3-0 on a Unity tactical riser. And then he's also got the EOTech G33 magnifier also on the Unity riser. It's the fast FTC mount. And then it's got a Radian Raptor SD charging handle, an Aero Precision ambi lower with the PDQ ambi bolt catch and release. He's got CMC lower parts kit in there, a Battle Arms Development ambi short throw safety selector. It's a LaRue MBT 2S flat face trigger, a BCM Mod 3 grip, a BCM Mod O trigger guard, a BCM QD M plate and castle nut, a B5 Systems Bravo stock, a Lancer mag, and then a Ferro Concept sling that's not pictured. Well, that is a very nice build from the ground up, so thank you for sharing that one, Vic. This next one comes from Charles, and it looks like we also have another nice build here, and I'm liking all the different camos. That Topo mag really stands out as well. So going through his build list from tip to butt, he's got an Otter Creek Labs Polonium K suppressor. He's got a custom suppressor cover on there, a Dead Air Chemo flash hider, a Streamlight ProTac HLX Pro, a Monstrum Tactical Scout mount, Monstrum Tactical rail covers. It's got a BCM foregrip and multicam black that actually looks like the B5. I'm pretty sure that's a B5. Again, I only correct it if I'm like pretty certain that I know that it's something else, but if I'm ever wrong, feel free to call me out. So yeah, I think that's a B5. He's got a BCM 11.5 enhanced lightweight upper. It's got Magpul M-Lock covers in OD green. It's got a Holosun 510C green dot with the Holosun HM3X magnifier. It's on an Aero Precision M4E1 lower. It's got a Geisley SD 3-gun trigger, a Magpul K2 Plus grip in OD green, a Radiant safety selector in OD green, a Timber Creek extended mag release, a Magpul bad lever, a Radian Raptor SD charging handle, a Geisley Super 42 braided spring with an H2 buffer, an SB Tactical SBA4 brace, a Wiseman Co. brace strap, a Topo Green Duramag, and then not pictured is a black multicam sling. I like the multitude of colors you have on there. It vibes for sure. So thank you for sharing that one, Charles. This next one comes from Daryl, and it looks like he sent us a couple guns here, so I'm going to go through his build list. It says first photo is a 300 Blackout build, and from tip to butt, he's got an Aero Precision Lamar 30 suppressor, and then it's tucked under the rail. He's got a Streamlight ProTac HLX, and then cable managed to perfection. It's hard to tell from the picture. I'm just going to take your word on it. It's got a Roscoe 8.2 inch barrel, a Superlative Arms adjustable gas block, a Midwest Industries SP 10.25 inch handguard. It's got a BCM Mod 3 vertical foregrip. He's got Magpul M-Lock rail covers, and then he mixed them with the gray and black. It's got a BCM QD sling mount in the M-lock rail. It's an Aero Precision slick upper with a Toolcraft nickel boron bolt carrier group, a Magpul dust cover. He's running a Hollow Sun SCRS red dot on there. And then it's a Palmetto lower that was SPR'd with a Magpul bad lever, an Armaspec Ambi safety selector, a CMC single stage trigger, it's 3.5 pounds, a Magpul K2 Plus grip, a Breek Arms sledgehammer charging handle, a Sylvan Arms folding stock adapter, a Magpul CTR stock, and then a Blue Force Gear sling, which is not pictured, it looks like. So that one's awesome. And then I'm going to go through his other one here because he did send a couple others. So he has a Palmetto Saber upper, it's a complete upper. And then it's got a Dead Air Sandman S suppressor on there. It's 13.7 inch pin and welded with a JMac Customs Chemo flash hider. It's got a Streamlight ProTac HLX light that also has perfect cable management. B5 rail covers. It's got a PSA adjustable gas block, a standard PSA Saber handguard, a Toolcraft nickel boron bolt carrier group, an EOTech EXPS 2-0 on a Unity riser. It's got the Unity FTC Omni mount with an EOTech G45 magnifier. And then these are all OEM parts, but it's got a Hyperfire trigger, a Radian Raptor charging handle, and a Radian Ambi safety selector. And it says those are OEM for the Saber line, so they come from the factory that way. And then it's got a B5 grip, a B5 Bravo stock, and a Magpul MS4 QD sling. And then he didn't mention the pistol, but that looks like the Taurus TX22 Competition, I believe. And then it's got an O-light. And to be honest, I'm not familiar with that 22 suppressor just by looking at it. So yeah, but very nice builds. Thank you for sharing those, Daryl, and thank you for watching the channel. This next one comes from Carlos, and even though it's a short build, it is a very badass build, so sorry if we burn through it. He said it wasn't particularly difficult, but he says it took a while to source all the parts, so the stock and the grip, although now they are readily available. Don't you hate when that happens, when it's hard to find something, and then by the time you have it, it's readily available? But at least you got it done, and this is his B&T TP9. So it's the TP9 by B&T, and then it's got the factory TP9 suppressor. It's got a Surefire X300 light on there. It's got an EOTech XPS2, and then it's the factory B&T grip, stock, and sling. I really want to get one of these. They look awesome. I've shot them a couple times, and they just shoot really well. I like the B&T stuff because they all take the same mags as long as you use the guns that take the mags, because now they make them set up for other pistol mags, but I have a GHM9, and I'd love to get this, their APC, and some of their other guns. But thank you for sharing that one, Carlos. I know we kind of went through it quick, but it's just a beautiful factory gun, so thanks for sharing. All right, this next one comes from Angel, and he also has a YouTube channel. It's called Bear Arms Channel, so go check it out if you don't mind. And he says, sorry about the phone quality, but here it is. It's a PSA Dagger compact with the 15-round frame. All internals are stock PSA. The tip is a Harrington Arms HCDG compensator. It's got an O-Light Valkyrie PL3, and then a Zulissi Oak red dot, 3 MOA, and it's an RMR footprint. He said it came with a Magpul mag, but he had issues with last round hold open, so he went with an OEM Glock mag, and it worked like a charm. And then he said, also threw in my custom holster from wearenerd.com. Interesting. And then he says, yes, he rattle canned it, which the holster looks pretty good rattle can. So thank you for sharing that one, Angel. And again, go check out his YouTube channel if you don't mind. This next one comes from Marquise, and this is his Knights Armament SR15 build. So it's a Knights Armament 11.5 SPR build that was rattle canned. It's got a Surefire 5.56 RC2 suppressor on a closed-tine flash hider, an Arisaka 18350 light body with a Modlite OKW head, a Surefire DS07 tail switch, and then it's on an Arisaka mount and a mod button, and then a Ranger band used for cable management. It's got a Magpul MVG on there, an Aimpoint Comp M5 on a Unity Fast Micro Riser. It's the 2.26 inch height. It's got Knights Armament iron sights, a Knights Armament Ambi charging handle, the Knights 3.2 bolt carrier group, and then the lower is a Radian ADAC lower with a Radian safety selector. It's got a Geisley SDE trigger, a BCM pistol grip, and then a B5 stock. And then lastly, it's got a Magpul sling. I like your multitude of colors on there. It kind of looks gray and black and tan. but I dig it. So thank you for sharing that one, Marquise. And yeah, let's move on to the next one. This next one comes from Peaches, and this is their Glock 19 Gen 3. It's their EDC, and probably the only handgun I'm comfortable saying I'm extremely proficient in. And yeah, Glock is just one of those great guns out of the box, but it looks like you have some stuff done to it, so let's go through the list here. So again, it's a Glock 19 Gen 3. It's got a Radiant afterburner on there, a Mariglow suppressor night sights. It's got a Streamlight TLR1 HL light, a Holosun 509T in green with the 32 MOA reticle, a Ghost Ink extended slide release, a Ghost Ink extended mag release, and then the slide is factory, but he sent it to Total Force Tactical for the serrations and the optics cut. So the internals are all stock because he wanted to keep it reliable. And I agree. Once you start changing things on a Glock, you make it not as much a Glock, and I've definitely noticed more issues when you change more stuff. So yeah, I mean, just a nice Glock 19 there with the compensator. I bet it shoots like a dream. So thank you for sharing that one, Peaches. This next one comes from Jose, and this one's pretty nice. I'm sure people are going to love it. It's a Russian AK-74 Sega SGL 31-85, imported by Fime Group. And I know these have skyrocketed in price because of the whole Russia conflict. Yeah, Russian AKs definitely went up here in the States. So let me go through their list here. It's got a Russian military surplus muzzle brake. It's got Russian blonde handguards on there. It's got an Aimpoint Micro T2 red dot on a Midwest Industries side rail mount. It's got a Khyber Pass M16 clipazine, an ALG trigger. It's got an RPK Russian E-Smash pistol grip, and then a Russian triangle folding stock, and then a Magpul MS3 2-point sling. That looks sweet. And then he also has a YouTube channel. It's called Angel Silver 4T7, so go check that out if you don't mind, and thank you for sharing, Jose. This next one comes from Virgil, and this is MP7 at home. It actually does look like an MP7. This is a Keltec CP33, and let's see what they did to it. So it's got a Ferrotech FT7 kit. Is that the chassis? Because I'm trying to think of what these things look like off the top of my head. It looks like it mainly replaced the upper, but yeah, I'm not too familiar with them. So again, Ferrotech FT7 kit. It's got a 17-round MP7 style CP33 magazine base plate. So it's a 50-round magazine now. Damn, that's crazy. I'm curious how reliable that is with 22. It's got an FT7 lower handguard with a folding grip, a Tactical Solution inert display suppressor. So it's a fake suppressor, but a silencer code switchback is currently in ATF jail. It's got a Vortex Venom red dot on there, an Action Union PEG 15. So I'm assuming fake PEG 15, but I'm not familiar with Action Union. It's got an Amazon single point sling, an A3 tactical steady brace, and then it was Cerakoted by Lead Heads gun and ammo. But yeah, I mean, that thing looks sick, and that's the first MP7 style gun we've ever had submitted. So thank you for sharing that one, Virgil. This next one comes from Vincent, and this is their Budget Badger build. That's a tongue twister. Budget Badger build. And it's chambered in 5.56. So it's a 10.5-inch tuck quad rail. So I'm going to go through his build list. He's got a Vox S suppressor with a 5.56 end cap. He's got a SIG Foxtrot MSR full size with the Surefire switch. I'm not familiar with that light. It's got Knights Armament ribbed rail panels on there. A 10.5-inch Roscoe barrel with an adjustable gas block. A 12-inch quad rail SD handguard. You didn't mention our brand, so I'm not sure on that. It's a KAC downward venting bolt carrier group. KAC is in KAK. It's got a Radian SD charging handle, an EOTech EXPS 3.0 on a Unity mount. And then he says it's an EOTech M33 magnifier. It's a contract overrun G33 with cap turrets with flip to center mount. And then he's running it with a Magpul sling, a mil-spec lower with a Geisley Trigger SSX with lightning bow, a Sylvan Arms magwell, a SIG grip, and then an SBA Tactical Honey Badger PDW brace, and a budget rattle can job. That definitely looks like a budget Honey Badger, and then that rail looks really cool. I like the quad rail over M-Lock rails that Honey Badgers come with. So thank you for sharing that one, Vincent. And then guys, it looks like we are on the last build, and this last one comes from Patrick. So let me go through his build list here. So this is their Aero Precision 8-inch 300 Blackout pistol build. And this is their second AR, but their first partial build They purchased the completed upper with an 8-inch barrel, but I built the lower myself from an M4E1 Aero Precision strip lower. And from tip to butt, right now it's got an A2 birdcage flash hider, but this will be replaced with a Surefire War Comp because they have a B&T RBS Compact SF suppressor that I'm waiting to take home. They are running UTG deployable iron sights. They have an Olight PL3R Valkyrie rechargeable light. It's 1500 lumens. It's got a Magpul AFG2 angled foregrip. An Aero Precision complete upper receiver. They are running a Sharps Rifle Company SAGRS adjustable gas key and extreme performance bolt carrier group. It's got a Griffin armament suppressor normalized ambi charging handle. They have a Holosun 512C with the gold reticle. And then it says Aero Precision M41 lower, but that's actually an X15 lower. They are slightly different. So you put M41, but yeah, this one's an X15 lower. It's got a Geisley lower parts kit. It's got a Geisley SDE trigger, a Sylvan Arms AR-15 folding adapter. It's got a Geisley buffer assembly with the Super 42 spring, an SB Tactical SBA5 brace, and then a Wilson Combat BCM Starburst gunfighter grip. And yeah, I mean, that looks nice. The only thing I see missing is a sling, but that'll be nice once you have it all set up with that B&T suppressor. So thank you for sharing that one, Patrick. All right, these next guns come from Peyton. I believe I'm pronouncing that right. And he's got two pretty cool looking guns here. So the first one is a Black Aces Tactical Pro S Mini. And I'm not sure how some of this works. Like, I have a base understanding, but it's transferred as a Title I firearm and it's not NFA, but it's a 10-inch barrel, 12 gauge, but they don't classify it as a shotgun. It's just considered a pistol grip firearm. And for the longest time, stuff like this was not okay. It would be considered an SBS or an AOW. If you were to take like a standard Remington 870 and turn it into the TAC-14, or you took a Mossberg 590 and turned it into the Shockwave, that would require a tax stamp because it's an AOW. It's no longer an 18-inch barrel. But I think a lot of companies went around that and just started making stuff like this, which is awesome. I support it. And yeah, this one's really cool. This is not really considered a build. It's just a really cool 10-inch 12-gauge firearm, not shotgun, remember guys. And it's semi-auto. Again, it's made by Black Aces Tactical. And it's got the SB Tactical SBA3 brace on there to keep it classified as a firearm. And then he says he believes this was a small batch exemption and there was about 500 or less made, which is pretty cool. So I really like that gun. Thank you for sharing that one. And then next up, he has a little 9mm here. And this is made by a local company here in Phoenix, Arizona called MLS Arms. And he says this is their Thompson we have at home. It's chambered in 45 ACP. It's got a large 3-chamber muzzle brake on there. It's got an 8-inch barrel, a scalloped 7-inch rail. The optic is a Holosun AEMS, and then it's also got a side charging upper, which is pretty cool. He's running a Doughboy tactical sling on it, and a Franklin Armory binary trigger. And for self-defense, he runs plus P critical duty or Underwood ammo in it. And he says it makes a pretty good home defense setup. And yeah, I agree, 45 would be pretty nice out of that, especially for home defense. So thank you for sharing those two. Next up, we have this pretty cool looking AR, and I noticed you got a little UGG boot sticking in there from a scar, but we're going to focus on the AR. This comes from Mike, and I'm just going through his build list here. So we got a V7 Systems titanium muzzle brake. It's got a Proof Research 16-inch 223 Wild carbon fiber barrel, a Brigand Arms carbon fiber handguard. Whoa, I didn't even think that was carbon fiber. That looks crazy on there. It's got a V7 Systems titanium adjustable gas block, a JP lightweight bolt carrier group, a V7 Enlighten upper receiver, a Spikes Tactical Jakl lower. It's got 2A armament titanium takedown pins, a Hyperfire Eclipse trigger. It's running a Magpul 45-degree safety selector, an Ergo grip, JP buffer, Rainier Arms charging handle, smoke composite carbon fiber stock / buffer tube. So that's all like one piece it looks like. And then for the optic, he's running an EOTech 1:6 BDC reticle scope. I believe that would be considered the Voodoo. I don't know if they made other LPVOs. And then for the mount, it's an Aero Precision scope mount. And it's built for rifle matches. It's lightweight, accurate with IMI 77 grain ammo, and it's pretty flat for its weight. So yeah, that's a very cool looking build. That handguard is something I've never seen before. At first I thought it was some type of metal, but he said that's a carbon fiber handguard, and then you can see the carbon fiber barrel going through it. So very cool build, Mike. Thank you for sharing. All right, and then we are officially on our last one here, and this comes from Edward from AZ Cactus Tac. I believe that's his YouTube channel. He didn't mention it, but I'll tag it either way. And this is his Meridian Defense Pestilence AK-47. And if you don't know Meridian Defense, they do really nice AK stuff. I'm actually paying on one of these right now, so I'm pretty excited. I'm actually going for the Apocalypse War, which is an RPK. So what we have here is a 1969 Romanian military parts kit that Meridian Defense builds up. 7.62x39. It's a black nitrided barrel. It's a 14.5-inch pin to 16 inches with a camo muzzle brake. So that makes it 16 inches overall, and now you can run a dead air style suppressor. It's got an Ultimac 1913 Picatinny gas tube cover, an RS Regulate side rail attachment for optics, and then he's running a Holosun 503C on there. It's got a Krebs custom safety selector, Meridian Defense trigger group, Romanian Bakelite pistol grip, and then custom refinished wood furniture. And I really like that. I know Meridian Defense does like a lot of numbers on their stocks. I haven't really seen letters, so I'm curious what the AE stands for, but that thing looks beautiful. So thank you for sharing that, Edward. And that is our last one. This was a really big viewer build video. It's the biggest one we've had yet, so I want to thank everyone that participated. If yours didn't make it in, I'm sorry. I tried to get everything I could, but there were some that were just very hard to see. So unfortunately, they didn't all make it. But thank you to everyone that participated. Thank you again to everyone that submitted for this week's viewer build video. I know it was a big one. If you made it this far, thank you guys for watching and thank you for participating. Again, I am sorry to anyone that did not make it in the video. It's just, it really only didn't make it in if it was not clear enough for me to see or zoom in on. So that is the only way that they didn't make it in this week. Originally, I recorded the audio portion on Wednesday, but because I was having technical issues on Thursday and started editing Friday, I just ended up putting a couple more builds in at the end. So I basically should have everyone except the low quality build. So again, thank you guys. And I'm sorry if yours didn't make it in. Just try to get me clearer pictures next time. And if you want to participate in next week's video, the theme is going to be twin guns. So that's two of basically one brand of gun. So again, I have the FN Scar here in 308 and in 5.56. Those would be twins, but it could be anything. It could be a 9mm and a 5.56 from the same brand, another 5.56 and 7.62 from the same AK company, just whatever you want. Twin guns, so ideally the same brand. And if you want to participate in that, send the pictures to my email. It's sales@atroxco.com, and it's got to be a clear horizontal picture. No screenshots, no really cheap phone quality pictures, ideally with a camera. I know not everyone has a camera, but I'm still getting some clean iPhone pictures. And besides that, again, horizontal, ideally a 16:9 ratio. You can edit that on an iPhone. I assume you could do it on an Android too, but I'm not sure. And then I need a good list describing your gun from tip to butt. I tend to run into this every single week, and I mean, I try to work around it, but eventually it's just gonna get too tough if we're getting too many builds. But you'll notice in the video, I'm getting builds described from the middle to the front to the back, and I'm trying to do from tip to butt to make it as clear as possible. And another thing is ideally just kind of in a line. I don't need really detailed lists. I appreciate it. It's just really hard to describe in a video. Like, again, this video, it was over 2 hours of audio that I edited down into like an hour 15 and an hour 20. And that 40 minutes that I cut off, was a lot of it was just extra information that I didn't really need, but I'm just reading through the person's list at the time. So if you can make it just short and simple, right? Like suppressor, light, laser, optic, trigger, stock, and like, I don't need a paragraph describing each part. And again, I appreciate it, but it just makes it for a very long video and hard to edit. So yeah, just short and simple. And other than that, again, thank you guys. If you're from another country, it'd be cool to get more of those because we did get one from Brazil this video. And I mean, yeah, I just appreciate you guys supporting this channel. And if you want to save 15% off on my website this week, again, it's atroxco.com and the code is viewerbuild. So that'll get you 15% off anything on my website. So thank you guys for watching and stay tuned for my next video.